The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated. Welcome back to the Nova Society, the space where dialogue deepens understanding and civic responsibility comes to life. I'm Dr. Mark Bound, joined by our regular panel, Dr. Scott Gershwer and Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon. Together, we'll unpack the stories that matter most, exploring the headlines, the history, and the big ideas shaping today's conversations. Let's dive in and hear what the panel has for us today.
I would actually like to talk about, unless you prefer not to, what is happening with the USS Abraham Lincoln that's been out there for 250 days and they don't have enough food and the toilets are not working. They have not put into port. They can't put into Middle East ports because there aren't any. Our bases are all gone. And even though there's now a ship coming to relieve it, Trump was saying, well, they haven't really been out long enough. And this is apparently far beyond what the normal amount of time at sea would be for today's Navy. And people have lost 30, 40 pounds because there's not enough food. They've had people trying to jump overboard because their mental health is so bad. Family members have been up in arms, calling their senators and making such a big stink. And it finally got out to the news that finally, once it began to look bad for Trump, he apparently took action and is bringing out another ship to place these sailors.
Yeah.
But they have not been off that ship for something like 250 days. And the normal rotation is like 30 days, 90 days, something like this.
Well, I mean, usually they like 6 months, 6 months. And these guys are working like 18-hour days while they're on there. And they're burnt, and they're completely burned out, and their food is terrible, and they haven't been able to restore. So they're in a really look. I think there were three things that kind of hit the news last week that all say the same thing. Trump doesn't give a shit about you. Trump doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself. And the three of them are the Afghan thing that we talked about in an earlier podcast, where he's sending our Afghan allies back to Afghanistan, or at least revoking the program that got them here, right? The second one is, as you were talking about, like the Lincoln, where he's callously, I think, really nastily says they haven't been out there long enough, right? Which is, really something that a dictator would say who doesn't care about people. And then the third one is the airplane thing. Right? What do they call it? The cater gate, whatever it is, where they snuck him off the airplane. And that's not the part that is the problem, that they snuck him off the plane. They should keep him safe. That's their job, the Secret Service. But the idea that he would let the other plane fly and not ground it and say, okay, everybody off this plane because this plane has been targeted. Go enjoy Turkey for a week, or go find yourself a commercial flight home that's not going to be targeted. Something along those lines. Once he's gone, once he's out of their airspace and he's not threatened anymore, he didn't do that. He just said basically to his members of his cabinet, including Scott Bessent and Marco Rubio, I don't care about you enough. If you get shot out of the sky, that's fine with me. He's saying it to the military personnel that were on that airplane, and he's saying it to the reporters who were on that airplane, that I don't give a shit about you. Die, because I'm the only person who's important here. And all three of those things basically say the same thing. It's me, I'm the important one. Nobody else is important. Everybody else is expendable.
That must have come as a huge surprise to Caroline Leavitt.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe that's one of the reasons she's leaving her post.
Yeah, possibly. She's been replaced, right, by another blonde.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's the Abraham Lincoln. The fact is once again, it's a matter of having a plan. if you're going to have a ship deployed for this amount of time, you've got to have a plan. My father served in Korean War. He was on the USS Missouri, a battleship, and they were at sea for quite a long time, but they also had ports of call, going there and then coming back, because it was important to resupply. And there's a lot of little maintenance things that have to be done on a timely basis. Now let's remember, when the Abraham Lincoln gets back into port, you're not going to be able to use it probably for 3 or 4 years, because it's going to have so much work that needs to be done. So there's one of those aircraft carriers that is basically not going to be usable in the foreseeable future. Once again, depleting our ability to project power and project security around the world. The aircraft carrier that's going, I believe, is coming out of the Pacific, and it's going to take at least 3-4 weeks just to get there. And then, of course, it's going to take the Lincoln time to get back. Also remember that when that carrier coming out of the Pacific is sent over to the Gulf, that opens up the Pacific to being, exposed to possible aggression. This really does create so many different scenarios, and not a single one of them is good. And I think the thing that really bothers me the most is it doesn't take a PhD in anything to know that, to be able to look at this and say, this is such a stupidly bad idea. And it truly is. I mean, and you don't have to be a military expert. You don't have to be a logistics expert. You just have to look at the situation and say, who the hell thought this was going to be a good idea? And why were these things not considered when you start? Now, granted, whenever you start a conflict, whenever you go into a conflict, you cannot anticipate all of the different things that can possibly happen. We all know that. We studied that. You just can't. Unforeseen things are going to happen. But there are certain things where, I'm sorry, you know what's going to happen. That you can actually say, yeah, okay, this is going to happen. Now Trump's threatening to bomb the shit out of Oman if they get in the way. Oh, and what we've used as far as weaponry is concerned is peanuts. It's just peanuts. I mean, it's one lie after another, and each lie basically brings out the fact that none of this, not a single bit of this, has a plan. Everything that comes out of the man's mouth was just off the top of his head. There's no truth involved into it. There's none whatsoever. What we're doing, Pete Hegseth, I'm sorry, when they had this problem, I guess the SecNav is going to be going out to the Lincoln. Is going to be flown out to the Lincoln. Well, it shouldn't be SecNav. It should be Pete Hegseth. Get your ass onto a flight. Go on out there. Hey, you are the Secretary of War. That's your job. That is your job, to support those people. And the fact is, your ass is going to be sitting home, doing whatever the hell it is you do, and not coming up with a plan. And you're going to send somebody else. So yeah, it just, as Scott said, it shows the complete disregard for the people that are actually doing the work. Those people that were flying Air Force One, those pilots that are flying Air Force One, those even the absolute lowlives in the cabinet that were on that flight, the journalists, even the Fox journalists and the Newsmax journalists and the OAN journalists, they all have families, and not one bit of consideration was given. You are the decoy. You're expendable. That's basically what was said, and they're saying that to those sailors of the Abraham Lincoln. They're saying that to basically the nations in the Asian theater, when they're not going to be protected by that aircraft carrier that should be there. They're saying it to the people of Oman when they say, well, you get in our way, we're going to bomb the shit out of you. When did this become us? And if this is us, I would rather not be.
So in one way, this kind of reminds me of Stalingrad. Who cares? From Hitler. And we're not even making an effort the way, as poor as it was, as much as a failure as it was, that what's his name there, Hermann Goering attempted to do with dropping food from the air and supplies from the air. I mean, can't someone, I mean, we're supposed to be the greatest in the world and this and that, our military. And I'm not at all disrespecting our men and women in uniform, because they're the ones paying the price for the absolutely execrable, terrible leadership from above. Is there no way to fly helicopters or something? I mean, they were dropping food into Vietnam with helicopters to soldiers who were out in, infantry out in the middle of the jungle. So there's no way to bring food we don't have a submarine, we don't have a helicopter, we don't have another ship, we don't have any way to resupply the Lincoln from anywhere, right? Apparently, no way to bring in mechanics to fix anything.
Brooke, it's a great question. I don't have the answer. I don't know the answer. I will say that even if you resupplied the ship, you still have the same people working 18-hour days now for 9 months straight or 11 months straight or whatever it is. And
we can't replace them with other
I guess you can
from another ship.
I guess it's certainly possible to fly troops over there, sailors over there to take over for this one.
I mean,
by the way, this is not the first one. This was the second one, right? The Ford was there first.
Right.
And that was at the time the longest deployment. And they had to pull back because they were getting hit by missiles and drones. Right. And the lack of transparency there is another factor in what Mark said earlier, is just an utter disregard for the life and safety of the troops or the sailors that are involved.
Fire. Right.
Yeah, and Brooke, you got to remember, this is a ship of 5,000. Yeah, it's not like you're going to put a bunch of people on a bus and take them. There's 5,000 people here. No, I mean, that's a huge undertaking. You're talking about an aircraft carrier. You're talking about, well, can we get supplies there with a submarine?
Another ship.
They can't carry that kind of equipment.
They can't do it. Of ships and helicopters and something. I mean, if someone actually cared about that, there is no way that the mighty U.S. Navy
I suppose we could do anything. I think you're right about that.
We could.
I don't know if anybody's ever done it before. I don't know if it's something that they are hesitant to do because you're putting more troops in harm's way for, let's say you're flying to this aircraft carrier, you're flying over hostile territory, another ship, that's carrying a lot of people. I mean, there's already plenty of ships out there, right? An aircraft carrier doesn't travel alone. So I honestly, I really don't know, but I just think it's, like as Mark said, it's poor planning, number one. It is not taking into account what they really needed to take into account when they started this war for no good reason at all, and completely screwed that up. And who knows how many billions of dollars of equipment has been destroyed on these bases all around the Gulf. But it's also just disgusting attitudes towards the common man and women, that the ordinary Americans, what they like to say, the everyday Americans, who are included in sailors and soldiers and people who, are working for a living while Pete Hegseth is off lecturing people about beards, and Trump is golfing and doing Lord knows, and totally involved. 70% of his time or something like that is spent on his vanity projects around the place. I just flew in and out of West Palm Beach Airport, which is now Donald Trump Airport. It is a sickening thing to see. The these are the things that preoccupy him, not common people.
And you know what? If you fly from Fukuyama, Japan, to Donald J. Trump Airport, on your ticket it's going to say FUK DJT.
Well, and he's also now back on the Kennedy Center. He wants to have his name etched into the concrete.
Right.
I mean,
right.
But the thing, he also, to me, I'm worried about the next aircraft carrier that's coming in, because I don't see any lessons having been learned anywhere among any of these people. And the sailors who are on the next ship, the next aircraft carrier coming in, are going to be in the same position.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. And right now, we don't have enough aircraft carriers. We don't have enough carrier groups. I saw Admiral Mullen saying we need 15 and we have 11 or something like that. And, some of them it takes years, as Mark said before, to refit them and do the work that needs to be done on them. They're just not available. I think they're out of the 11, I think 7 are maybe available, and they're deployed all over the place. By the way, the Ford was the one that went to Venezuela last year.
Yeah.
Right. So they sent that one from the Middle East to the Caribbean, which probably was not a terrible deployment. I think it was at Puerto Rico, and then back to the Middle East, and then it evidently was attacked, and now it's back at some port somewhere. I forget where exactly it is, but that's going to be out of commission for a while.
Yeah,
and they're saying that they're going to keep this up indefinitely. Like this is literally a forever war, because there's no end in sight, and the Iranians are not giving up, and they're going to tough it out, and Trump is not going to cross China, so China is going to get any oil that it needs, and so they're going to have a certain amount of income from that, no matter how many sanctions he puts on them or tariffs, I guess. I don't know, to anybody who buys their stuff, which just means that we pay more for it. Doesn't really, just not taking any money out of the pockets of anybody else but the American consumers. I don't know.
And we're going to have 5,000, probably, I don't know how many people from the Lincoln who are going to need serious mental health support.
Yeah, probably.
After all this.
So I just want to ask one last question. I was discussing this with a couple of friends last night. Mark, what do you think of this? I said yesterday that Trump's not leaving. He is going to die in office. He will not leave. 2028 rolls around, 2029 rolls around.
I agree.
January 2029, he's not leaving.
He's not leaving. No, I fully agree with you, Scott. He won't leave.
Whoever becomes president next, if it's a Republican, they're going to find the White House already occupied.
Yep.
And him making all the decisions, as he did, by the way, during the Biden administration for the Republicans, made all the calls. Mm-hmm. And he's not leaving. What do you think?
No, he
Mark,
won't go.
Is he going to go? Is he going to go gently into that good night?
Well,
no.
Maybe, hopefully, not in the way, not in the electoral way. Maybe he'll go in a different way. Which, okay. I have said, and I have stood by, and I have been consistent in that the system will hold. I look at his popularity, and again, I don't put a lot into polls, but we have to understand that he has lost a lot of the support that he originally came in with. I don't think he has, and we're seeing a lot of it today. Some of the candidates, Mike Pillow guy, got his ass handed to him in Minnesota. I don't think he has the political oomph that he had. I think people, even the MAGA people, and even the people that I talk to here in South Carolina, that friends of mine that are, I would say, MAGA and have been MAGA for quite a long time, they're waffling a little bit. They're truly beginning to waffle, and I think that is, I think that's a hopeful sign, because I truly believe that Trump's greatest weakness and worst enemy is Trump himself. And every time he opens his mouth, it's coming to the point, in my experience, what I'm seeing, it's becoming more difficult for those supporters to justify it out in some convoluted way. You can only turn yourself into a pretzel so much, and then you start sounding as ridiculous as the person that you're talking about. I do believe he's going to go. Now, will he, if he's still alive, and we do not wish anybody to not be, if he's still alive and it's a Republican, will he have influence? Yes. I believe that he will. If he's still alive and it's a Democrat in the president's office, I don't think he will have as much influence. The question's going to be, and it's not going to be like the 4 years where Biden was in office, where he had quite a bit of influence during those because the party was so afraid. But I think that he has created himself such a repertoire, I guess is what I would call it, of unbelievable and undefensible statements and acts that even the people in in the Congress are going to start saying, you know what? Okay, I'm going to lose the MAGA base, but I might gain the independents back. I might gain those moderates back. And I think eventually, and we've always said it, politics is all about mathematics. And the candidates that are going to survive are the candidates that can do the mathematics. And I think the mathematics of Trump is going away. Hopefully, we won't have to find out.
Well, I agree with you, Mark, except that Trump doesn't care about.
Well, that doesn't mean we have to.
He is living in. He has magical thinking. I mean, he
probably doesn't know that he's becoming more unpopular because nobody's telling him that.
No, he believes he's still. The polls are all wrong. That
exactly.
It's like if you listen to Mike Lindell. He lost because the primary was rigged.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a primary where only Republicans can vote. So the Republicans rigged your own. I mean, come on.
Exactly. I mean, they're all like that. Look at the thing in California where it was rigged against a Republican who got about 30% of the vote or 29% of the vote, and there were the same percentage of registered Republicans in Los Angeles.
Right.
So, and that's the percentage of votes the Republican got.
And what I'm saying is that that number, even after the end of World War II, and I'm not making the comparison, even after the end of World War II, there were still Nazis in Germany. They were still there. Even after Trump,
United States.
And in the United States, and there's going to be MAGA. Mm-hmm. Now the question is do we relegate MAGA back to where it was, which was, in the closet somewhere, and, the people that we talked about and kind of chuckled about because they were so batshit crazy, are we going to relegate them back to there? And I think that's what's got to happen. And if somebody's going to say, well, that's cancel culture. You're stifling my free speech. No, you can say whatever you want. Doesn't mean anybody has to listen to your bullshit. And that's really the way I look at it. I think that it truly is a matter of will he leave, Scott? I guess it all depends on how you describe leave. If he's sitting his fat ass in the Oval Office and refuses to get out, and a new president comes in and says, "Okay, just wall the damn thing up and let that be his tomb," I'm okay with that. We could build a new Oval Office someplace. I don't care.
Right.
Wall his ass up.
President Rubio or Vance, whoever it is, will just say, I don't need the White House.
Yep.
I can be president from somewhere else. Let Trump stay in the White House, or Trump says I'd rather be in Mar-a-Lago anyway. So
Yep.
you take the White House and I'll go down there, but I'm running the country.
Well, okay. And if they let him, they let him. But
No.
let's see.
But
They're going to do the calculations on whether or not they have to let him or not. And I think that's where it's going to be.
But there will
All
be
right.
there will be a 2028 election.
I believe so.
But they may invalidate the results, and if they don't like the 2026 election, Johnson can refuse to seat Democrats.
Johnson won't be there after
falsify.
2028. After 2026, Johnson won't be there.
Yeah, but if he is still there at the beginning of
2027.
No, but he's still speaker. He can refuse to seat anybody he doesn't like.
Okay.
In the beginning of 2027.
Right. And then when the new Congress comes in,
he can refuse to seat anybody he doesn't like because
he can refuse to do whatever he wants. So the fact is now you have a plurality. The plurality is Democrats. Boom, done.
I don't know. I am alarmed.
And that's all the time we have for today's episode. The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We want to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing team, Apple Podcasts, the largest source of podcast and music online, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your destination for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. And most importantly, we want to thank you, our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society could not be possible. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing on the platform of your choice. It's easy, it's free, and helps our channel grow. For questions or comments, you can reach us at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So on behalf of Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Scott Gershworth, and all of our production partners here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power of society is knowledge. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you again next time.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening!